So what we are going to do today is that we'll continue from where we left on Sakadagami. So what's a Sakadagami going to do? So we understood about Sotapanna, which you can look out within the sutta, and you also know who is a Sotapanna. Is a person who have grasped the five aggregates not being there. That means he has let go of the five aggregates and he knows that it's on one side anatta and other side anicca, both holding to it is a dukkha. So basically what happens, for the very first time he gets to see the Four Noble Truth. So the Bodhipakya Dhamma, in that Satipatthana gets established, then the Sammapadhana get established, then he will have the Iddhis, then the Pancha Indriya, Pancha Bala, Satta Bojjhanga, and then the Arya Tangika Magga. So this becomes 37 factors of awakening. Now what it awakens? Basically, it awakens that the I as a concept is nothing but the five grasping aggregates. There's nothing other than what I consider as I. So that much knowledge will bring in the Sotapanna. Now, when it comes to Sakadagami, he starts working. Now, what does he work? So, once in the Buddha dispensation, the first work to do is the indriya samvara, that is guarding the sense doors. Now, how to guard the sense doors? So, there is a sutta which talks about guarding the sense. There are many suttas. So we can use the Indriya Bhavana Sutta, or we can even look at the Samanapala Sutta, or any other sutta which helps us to guard the sense door. But let's practically look at what is guarding sense door. So now I am seeing this eye into this screen, like this camera. So as I watch the camera, an interesting phenomena takes place. I am seeing myself. So there is a self view which comes. Here, when I do the Indriya Bhavana, then or guarding the sense door, the self view will not come because of two things. I am going to remove it. One is nimitta, symbol. So if I have understood that this body is just an aggregate of the Chattaro Mahabhuta, four Mahabhutas and Upadaya Rupa, then there is no Atta. So now that feeling is gone. So when that feeling is gone, I need to watch this body as a body. Kaye Kaya Anupassi Viharati. So now I am watching the body as a body consisting of Namakaya and Rupakaya. So there are two Kayas. When I say Kaya, Kaya Anupassi Viharati, I am looking at the Namakaya and the Rupakaya. Namakaya is in terms of the phassa contact, the feeling what I get, the Vedana, the Sanya, which is a perception, then Chetana, intention, Manasikara is reflection or the mind holding to something. So there are two ways of looking at it. One is yoniso manasikara and ayoniso manasikara. So when I am basically watching the indriya, the eye seeing the camera, I am objectively seeing it instead of objectifying it, because there is no symbol. So in the phassa, the first thing I need to work it on the phassa, contact. The contact between the eye and the object is just an I and an object, not I as myself seeing an object. So then the nimitta goes away, it becomes animitta. Then nana bhyanjana, means description, which becomes adhivachana. So vilas is an adhivachana, because now you have to define who is vilas and what it is. So when I see myself in the camera, I should watch it without description and without the symbol. What's a symbol? The symbol is my face and this body. So I need to reflect upon, was I like this when the birth happened. So I need to do the paticca samutpanna. So I shouldn't forget the 7 things which we discussed, that is the anicca, sankata, paticsamutpanna, khaidhamma, vaidhamma, viraga dhamma, nirodha dhamma. So when I start looking at it, meaning taking the breath or taking the Buddhanusati or Dhammanusati or Sanghanusati or whatever object I am seeing, and the mind being in samatha, which we already covered it, now I am watching it. So if I am able to get through one sense, that is one sense door, either the eyes or the ear or the nose or the tongue or the body and the mind sense door is very difficult to grasp. So we can take the 5 indriyas, these indriyas, which has become ayatana. So now I have to cut the ayatana, meaning conceptualizing that this is Vilas who is sitting and talking to the camera. So I need to practice. So the practice here is looking at the Buddha or the Dhamma or the Sangha or Marana or Chaga or whatever those things, or the breath or the dhatu or whichever I have accepted as an object. Then I am watching in a very objective fashion instead of subjectivity. As long as the eye exists and I'm seeing the camera, there is a conscious experience of I'm watching the camera. But what if my eyes now go to the ceiling? So no longer the camera is, I'm gauging the camera, my attention has gone to the ceiling. Now what if I turn to the side? Now again, when I turn to the side, the ceiling is gone, whereas it is replaced by the what is there on this side. Now if I turn to that side, what I see, this side is gone, only that side remains. So what it means, that the rupa, when it changes, the feeling that I was watching the ceiling is gone. The feeling that I'm seeing the side, because now I've turned to the side, the ceiling is gone. Now if I'm turning to the other side of it, where I was turning to the right hand side of where I was turning is gone. So the feeling is gone. So there's perception is now on the left, because I'm seeing on the left. If I turn on the right, the perception is on the right. If the perception is on the top, that I'm seeing on the top, then I see the ceiling. So then what happens? It drops off. I can see it is dropping away. It's not staying. It's not sticking. So what is the inference out of it? As soon as the eye and the object are changed, the consciousness picks up something else. So if I am turning my head, each of these objects arises and passes away. So if I am able to get the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and the mind, our mind will take later, but these 5, some of it will be very strong. When we say that you can't get it, some of it will be very weak, meaning you can break it. So once I start breaking it, I lose that conceptualization which is happening due to the symbolization. So the symbols drop, and when the symbol drop, I am turning the face but not grasping anything out of it, which is a liberation as far as the eye goes. And same thing I can work on the sound. The sound is coming. There can be sound coming through the mouth right now, or the sound coming from outside. It just is a sound. So dite dite mattam, sute sute mattam, mute mute mattam, vinyate vinyate mattam. That is exactly the indriya bhavana is all about. So while seeing, there is only seeing. While hearing, there is only hearing. While touching, there is only touching. So I am touching the body, I am touching through the tongue, I am touching through the nose. And vinyate is cognizing. So the mind cognizes everything around. So it's just a cognition. There is no symbolization, there is no description. So there is no adivachana, and hence there is no patigha. Patigha means strike through. The object is striking to the senses, but it's not creating ripples. So Basically, this is how I need to practice the indriya bhavana, and making sure that it doesn't form a field or a sphere. So eye makes one sphere, ear makes another sphere for the experience. So that breaks. When it breaks, let's say, the very first time it has broken, what happens? The possession, orientation towards possessing an object as mine and myself is gone. The self view is already gone of the five aggregates, but now the selfness of eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body is also going away. So there's no longer any grasp. So what happens? Etan santan, this is peaceful. Etan panitan, this is profound. Yadidam, only when. Sabba sankhara samatho, when all the sankharas, the preparations, are tranquilized. Samatha, avikhepa is samatha, that is undistractedness is samatha. Samatho, sabbupadi pati nissaggo. Now this upadi is nothing but possession or creating something. It's what I can say, producing something. So the production is not there. Sabbupadi pati nissaggo. Nissarana is to cut it. Pati is to bond. So whatever I am bonding as Vilas seeing this, Vilas hearing that, Vilas smelling this, Vilas touching this, Vilas thinking this, all that is temporarily put into it, held in check. Samatha. Sabbupadi patinissaggo. Tanhakhayo. Now when there is nothing to be grasped through the senses, craving cannot take over. Tanhakhayo. Virago. Now I really enjoy dispassion. There is dispassion. Nirodho. So it doesn't arise. So when I'm seeing like this, nothing arises to cease. If not something arises, it will cease. If nothing arises, there's nothing to cease. And hence Nibbana. So virago nirodho Nibbana. Etan santan, etan panitan, yadidam sabba sankhara samatho sabbupadi patinissaggo tanhakhayo virago nirodho Nibbana. So this is also there in the Jhana Sutta. So to attain first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, like that, all the jhanas. So you need to cut the Rupa Khanda, Vedana Khanda, Sanya Khanda, Sankhara Khanda, Vijnana Khanda, and start practicing Etan Santan, Etan Panitan. And when you do that, you get into a jhanic bliss because there are no objects at all. Eye is seeing the camera, but it's not possessing. Ear is hearing the sound, but it's not possessing. Nose is smelling, but it's not possessing. Tongue is tasting, but it's not possessing. Body is touching, but it's not possessing. So when the five senses are held in check, then the sixth sense door, which is the virtual machine, will also stop. Yes, Sachin?
Yes, Jnana Sutta also, wait a minute, you cut the five khanda and then go to Etan Santa.
Right.
And here also, you are cutting five khandas, then doing this, chakku and all that, indriya bhavana, and then going to Etan Santa. So just one step, one procedure extra, right?
Yes. Or if you take Samanapala Sutta, you start with the Sila, then you come into the Indriya Bhavana or Indriya Samvara, then you do that same thing in all the postures. Then you become contented that yes, you don't have anything holding, anything grasping.
Maybe one is daily life and one is sitting meditation, sir.
Yes. So now we have to look at what we can do. So now I'm watching the camera. Now my objective, or when I'm seeing it, the my me, whatever I'm speaking is adivachana, just to speak, because that's how I can use a language. But internally, I should not feel I. Okay, that's the objective. Subjective is that I should talk with I. I am seeing this, I am seeing the camera. I am just defining it. I, with that definition, is adivachana. So, in a normal life, meaning not sitting in meditation or formal meditation, watching the breath or watching I want to watch, and then going into the jhana, as opposed to this, when I'm interacting with the world of senses, then I should stop the senses going to the sense object through the vijnana. Okay. So what is the meaning of it is that there is no cognition other than seeing. There is no cognition other than hearing. That I need to practice. If I could practice it, and if I'm able to get all the six senses at one point, meaning not one pointedness, at one point, that means they converge. That gets into ekagata, oneness. There is no separation. That moment you feel nibbana, which is profound, and that gives you the first time experience of how an arhat would be, and hence reach Sakadagami.
So I understand it's like when monks are going to the villages for alms round, they are interaging with the people. So they are using an additional feature called indriya bhavana
Correct.
to create a virtual seclusion, just like they are staying
Exactly,
in the jungle.
exactly. So now I need to go for food. So four requisites. So I need to always reflect on. That's the reason it's called as Pacchavekkhana. What it really means is that I need to be aware. That is four things. First is focus. So I need to focus on this body. This body is made out of food, ahara samudayo, rupa samudayo. So now this body is made out of food. So I need to get the food, basically. So now I focus. Then the attention comes on this body. Wherever I focus, the attention retains there. Then I get into awareness. Awareness of what? Why am I eating? So not for madaya, mandanaya, vibhushanaya, whatever is there. It means I am not here for indulging in fun and entertainment and tasting and all that. I am just trying to pacify the hunger. So if I am aware of that, create an awareness of the third one, the fourth one, mindfulness, automatically happen, and the sati gets developed. So satipatthana automatically happens. Now when I am wearing the robe like this, what I'm wearing is because of the heat and cold, and also to guard away from mosquitoes or anything that is creeping or can be walking like ants or whatever it is, right? So now I need to wear that for that reason. So chivara, that is the cloth, I'm wearing for that reason. Third one, dwelling. I'm staying in this room because I can't stay on the road. Any person requires a dwelling. So senasana. Now this room is sufficient for me. For what? Sitting, walking, standing, sleeping, all the postures, one room is sufficient. I need another place to excrete, and that's all. I don't require anything else other than for this activity. So that's the reason I require senasana. And the fourth one, this body is made out of food. So the minerals what I find in the environment might not be suitable for sustenance, so it will have deficiency. When there is deficiency, it creates diseases, and since there are diseases going to be there, I require nutrients in a different form, like in a tablet form or in a powder form or some form, and I am taking medicine. So gilana is is nothing but disease. So, the four requisite, if I were to reflect upon when I'm taking food, I'm going into the, like now I go and ask the person who is acting as my wife, not really a wife, she's acting as a wife because we are married, and I'm sure that I'm not married. And she is also sure that she never married me. So if we both are working in that way, then we created a monastery within ourselves. So now I go to this lady asking for alms. I'll tell her, my dear lady, can you give me some food to eat? Because I need to sustain this body. And she says, okay, here it is, eat. So I bring the food into this room and I eat. And then I wash my bowl and keep it back. So when again hunger strikes as a disease, because it's a disease, hunger and thirst are the major diseases which cannot be removed. So now again I go back and refuel it. Then what happens? The indriya is in samvara. That means it's not indulged. So when I do like this and it comes into oneness, okay, at that moment I attain nibbana. So once I'm attaining this nibbana while working, the possession is gone. Feeling of possession completely goes away. When the possessing feeling is gone, that very moment you have the phala, fruit of Sakadagami. Then let's now see what happens in Anāgami. Now taking the same thing ahead, what fetters are gone, sanyojana are gone, is the Visikicha went away, Silabitta Paramasa went away, and the Sakkaya went away. Three lower fetters are gone. That is skeptical doubt, belief in rites and rituals are going to lead to liberation. And the third one is Sakkaya, viewing the aggregates as myself. These three are gone. At Sakadagami, the abhijja, that is excess indulgence. Ichcha is desire. Abhi is higher. Desire to enjoy the senses again and again and again is abhijja. Another word which is used is kama chanda. Chanda means interest. Kama is sense. Sense gratification is kama. Chanda is interest. Gratifying the senses beyond what it is. Eye is meant for seeing. Anything else other than that is kama chanda. Ear job is to hear. But anything other than that, it means when somebody talks to me and I feel irritated by it, it means I have vyapad. If somebody talks to me and I feel pleasurable, I'm getting a pleasurable sensation in the body, I have kama chanda. So if I am going to be an Anāgami, or if I am already an Anāgami, the test I need to have is to see whether the indriya samvara has completely happened, irrespective of what is coming, what is being heard, what is being tasted, what is being smelt, and all that. It should be continuous. In a Sakadagami, he needs to work out. In an Anāgami, it is a natural process, so he doesn't get involved. If that has happened, and one can know for himself, he doesn't have to go and ask anyone that are my indriyas are in control. He knows. So there is no need for him to go and get a certificate from someone, because that's what it is. Kamachanda comes because of symbolization, nimitta. Vyapada also comes due to symbolization. So there is animitta. Then the second one, most important one, nana bhyanjana. He doesn't describe within his mind. So there's no papancha. If there is no papancha, then there is no papancha sanya sankha. If papancha sanya sankha is not there, he is an anagami because he doesn't proliferate. In whichever way you take it, you can find out within yourself. Am I having this way? It's not about situation. Situation can be anything. Conditions can be anything. Wife is speaking, son is speaking, daughter is speaking, father is speaking, mother is speaking, neighbor is speaking, you're in the office, you're doing this, you're doing that, all of it. Totally. But the mind doesn't grasp. Meaning, indriya is in samvara all the time. The sense door are completely guarded. And he knows that it is guarded. If yes, then the person is Anāgami. So the difference between a Sotapanna and a Anagami is the Sotapanna is learning to do the Indriya Bhavana, whereas the Sakadagami has traveled quite a bit and he's experienced how the Indriyas get shut down, closed down, and what he experiences. Then the third one, Anagami, where he stays in that forever. Now, if he's staying that forever, yes, Sachin, go ahead.
Wait. I forgot.
Okay. So whenever you remember, so it's okay. So what do you mean by forever? It's not an effort. It's effortless and it is a natural state. Then why
Yeah, I
he?
got it.
Yes,
So this is the main method by which we define all the three, right?
right.
So Sakadagami is just, Sakadagami is in the like medium, Anagami is master, and the Sotapanna is primitive in that. In this
Yes.
process of sense. So my question is, Anagami, when he is mastered this naturally, so earlier also I asked him, so all the five senses are literally, he is totally detached when whatever he's seeing and all that. To the extent that he don't even he is put in a black dark room just like that. He can't even remember, can't even know while walking.
No. It's not like that. I think we are taking. So I was about to say why he is not an arhat. So I was about to explain the same thing. So in the meanwhile, you asked this question. So what's the difference between this guy who is an anagami and this guy who is an arhat? Now let's understand what happens really when the five senses plus the sixth sense doesn't have any possession forever. In the case of a Sakadagami, he has learned how to stop the senses moving into the sense object, but sometimes he gives into it. And hence his Kamachanda and Vyapada is reduced, is not completely eliminated. Why? Because there is still an interest to enjoy the senses, to deal with it. So he has to practice. So it's like it's not become a natural state for him. That means he has to keep on working, and hence it is once returner. Why? Because it still has that bhava in him to enjoy. Whereas in the Anagami, the five senses don't go out. So he has held them in check. Now, why he can't be an arhat then? Oh, now we have to answer this question in a different way. He has raga. He doesn't have kama chanda, but he has raga. What raga? That nice feeling what he gets when he shut down the sense door, he starts relishing it. So there is rupa raga and there is arupa raga. What it really means, the rupa raga is an existence of the Brahma realm where you feel totally nothing but subtle rupa, subtle form. The gross form is gone. The experience of gross form is not there. Arupa raga, now he can attain the four arupa jhanas. along with it. Okay, so he can be in rupa, arupa, these two. Third one, avidya exists. He thinks Buddha Dhamma, he has possessed it. Now he was possessing something else. Now he possesses the Buddha Dhamma itself. The third rag, third is avidya. Fourth one, udacha, restlessness. He gets restless to achieve. He thinks there is something to be achieved. So his mind pulls itself towards something. And he wants to be nibbana all the time. So he makes nibbana as an object. He's attached to it. So there is avidya and there is udacha. Okay. So now we has, and then he has mana. Now this mana is the one, if he gets rid of, it automatically takes him to arhat. Because that person has the mana that he has achieved it. Not externally, but internally he feels that he has achieved something extraordinary, which is true. He has achieved something extraordinary than a normal worldling, even a Sotapanna or Sakadagami. He is far better. If we were to give these five higher feta, that's the reason it's called higher feta, it's not lower feta. Higher feta, because they're very subtle. It's not gross any longer. There's no kamachanda in him. Why? Because he has shut down the senses, going into the sense object. There is no vyapada. Why? Because only when it goes into the sense object, you can either say I'm liking it, I'm disliking it. So since indriya samvara has happened and he is contented and he is able to do that with all the postures, abhikkante patikkante sampajanakari hoti. आलोकिते विलोकिते संपजानकारी होती. okay. समिंजिते पसारिते संपजानकारी होती. संगाति पच्च चीवरधारणे संपजानकारी होती. असिते पीते खाइते साइते संपजानकारी होती. थिथे गते थिथे निसिन्ने सुत्ते जागरते भासिते tunni bhave sampajanakari hoti. Now let's understand what happens. This indriya samvara is established when abhikkante patikkante sampajanakari hoti. That means when he is turning his head, going forward, going backward, it is established. Alokite vilokite, when he turns back, turns in the front, indriya samvara is there. Sangati pacha chivara dharane. That is when he is wearing the upper robe and wearing the robe and an upper robe, there is indriya samvara. Doesn't get into the senses. Asite, saminjite, stretching. Pasarite, bending, like taking it back. He is opening his arms or for the bowl, for the arms, and he picks it up and he brings it back. At both the situation, he is having that mindfulness. Sampajanakari is nothing but getting rid of the senses, getting into the sense object. So there's nothing like I'm sensing something other than what should be sensed. So that means basically I'm sensing the food. I'm sensing this body movements. I can see it's like a robotic thing happening. And hence I'm in sampajanya. So if I'm doing like this, then the mind is not going anywhere. Then asite, he brings a food, asite, pite, drinking, khaite, saite, he's pushing into the stomach. Sampajanakari hoti. Okay. Then gate, going. Tithe, standing. Nisinne, sitting. Sutte, sleeping. Jagarite, getting up and sitting, awakened or awake. Bhasite, speaking. Tunhi bhave, silent, not talking. No senses are coming. He has shut down the senses. If he is doing, now what happens? There can't be kamachanda, there can't be vyapada, or there cannot be abhijja, there cannot be vyapada. So either from the hindrance is removed it, and hence in the 5 hindrances you have abhijja vyapada or kamachanda vyapada, or he has worked out on the 5 fetters, the 2 lower fetters, kamachanda vyapada, and hence he is an anagami. So the test is whether he has kamachanda and vyapada. That's all. So if I don't have kamachanda, if I don't have vyapada, and I know the steps I have taken to get into it, then that person is anagami. How did he do it? He followed indriya samvara. Where? DN2. So there is proof. He is not talking out of his mind, saying, I know how to guard senses. Show me. How do you do it? 2 ways. One, non-symbolization. He has learned how to non-symbolize. And in the Mahavedala Sutta, same question between the Ayasma Sariputta and another venerable monk. What does he ask? Tell me Chetu Vimukti. And he says, very simple, Sabba Nimittancha Amanasikaro. Amanasikaro Animittaya Dhatuya Manasikaro. What it really means. Sabba Nimittancha Amanasikaro. Meaning, remove the impressions, remove the symbols from the mind. Mind can symbolize through the 5 senses. If you do the samvara of the 5 senses, sabba nimittancha amanasikaro, animittaya dhatu. Dhatu is quality. Nimitta is symbol. Animitta, that is signless. If I make it signless, Cheto Vimukti is immediate. Why? Animitta dhatuya manasikaro. In the mind, it establishes without symbol. Yes, Harry.
Question: since when the Anagami is doing the indriya samvara perfectly, that means the nimitta from the senses are always not there.
Yes. What will happen? He will converse, he will do everything, but he doesn't symbolize. The moment he symbolizes, either he is going to make it as a raga or dvesha. Yes.
The question is why he's not in the animitta Cheto Vimukti all the time.
This is a interesting, this is a very nice question. Why? Because he has raga for rupa, arupa. Then he has mana, he has avijja, he has udacha.
Oh, so the nimitta is made for the rupa and arupa.
Yes. Yes. He doesn't, again I repeat, he doesn't have kamachanda. He doesn't have vyapada. But he has this one. Correct. So the difference between an arhat and an anagami is arhat has removed all the fetters. Anagami has removed only the 5 lower fetters. It is worth it, but he is still a trainee. He requires now training, more subtle training than a sotapanna. to how to get rid of Rupa Raga, how to get rid of Arupa Raga, stop the jhanas. Yes.
So the Anagami has perfected the skill of removing the nimitta from the senses,
Yes.
but not yet for the jhanas and the
Yes, he
dharmas.
has a subtle nimittas of, he now identifies, this is Vinyanan Chayatana. He's so happy. Oh, this is Akashanan Chayatana. So happy. Oh, this is Neva Sanyana Sanyayatana. And he sticks there. He has not removed it, right? See, the thing is, he has to remove that. That's a very subtle one. But yes, he has to work out. In fact, after Anagami to Arhat is more difficult than Sotapanna to Anagami. Because this Sotapanna to Anagami is a grosser one. You can really work out. All the remaining things, these 5 higher fetters are all subtle. How do you remove mana? What's a method of removing mana? Okay, first, how do you remove avidya? See, avidya is there from a puttujana state till anagami state. Now he is asking you remove avidya. Okay, it's very subtle. Third one, restlessness. If I don't get into jhana, I feel restless. Like that happened in Sri Lanka. When I was sitting there, he is with his family, but I am sitting in my room and enjoying. Blissful of whatever is happening. Okay. But I am not indulging with them. So every now and then my Kalyana Mitra or the friend used to come and ask me, Vilas, shall we do this? Shall we do that? Shall we go out? I don't want to go anywhere. And I am also having restless. What restlessness? That my jhana is getting broken. So this third one. Now let's check the fourth one. 2 of these ragas are there. So 2 of them. Third one is udacha, then avidya and mana. I have mana. I cannot say that I don't have mana. So I have to work out in a much profound way. It's there. Subtle is there, but the grosser is gone, but the subtle is there. I can't say, no, I am done with mana. No. Am I having avidya? Yes, still exist. What avidya of what? The Paticamutpada cycle, I am not seeing it all the 24/7. The difference I have between my previous to now is that I can be in Paticamutpada, understand Paticamutpada at a very close distance. But that doesn't mean that I have achieved. No. So that is there, avidya is there, mana is there. Both the ragas are there presently. I love to be in Arupa Jhana, I love to be in Arupa Jhana. That's 100%. Okay. Then what else? Restlessness is there. Yes, are you?
So that's why when you practice according to the Rahula Bhatta Sutta, and you be like earth and water.
Exactly. Now that is how you get rid of mana. First thing. So that is why the reason I love this sutta, MN 62 and Anguttara Nikaya 3.61 Tithayatana Sutta. These 2 suttas will take the person into Arhat. Okay. Now, this is what is Anagami. There's nothing else other than that as Anagami. Yes.
Yeah, I have one question about the indriya, the samvara. So when you said there's no nimitta from the senses, so when we hear someone talk, we have to make the symbols so we understand.
You will do adivachana. See, there's a difference. You will exactly do what is there in the Mahanidana Sutta. Actually, what is there. You will first understand what is Nama, what is Rupa. First thing. Then you will understand Patigha and Adivachana Samphassa, Patigha Samphassa. Okay. So when it strikes through, this object strikes through. If somebody were to ask me what is this on the left hand side, I can't say it is Pathavi Dhatu, Apo Dhatu, Vayo Dhatu, Tejo Dhatu, Akasa Dhatu, like that. That guy will say, tell me what is this? Then I'll have to say it is Buddha, but there's no Buddha there. So I have to play with the words. That means I have to use the language to express what should be expressed. But internally, if somebody were to throw this out, it doesn't cause discomfort. Yes, Harry.
My question is more like very basic. Since my understanding is nimitta is required for understanding, say, languages, and when you guard the 10 doors perfectly and you're not making nimitta, how are you understanding the words?
This is the problem, Harry. Now, this doesn't have a proper answer, but I can give you some answer. What Darucharya did. Dite, dite, mattan, sute, sute, mattan. Same thing, right? Now, if he were to ask somebody for alms, he can't go to that lady and say, dite, dite, mattam, sute, sute, mattam, mute, mute, mattam, vinyate, vinyate. He has to make words. He has to. But internally, what is internal, external? First, we have to work out that. That is what is the starting point of Maharahula Vada Sutta. He says 11 things you have to drop. What? Atita, Anagata, Pachuppanna, Ajjatta, Bahidda, Ularika Sukama, Hina Panita, right? And then Subha Asubha. You have to drop off all the 11 when you look at Rupa, all the 11 when you look at Vedana, all the 11 when you look at Sanya. What really it means? Just to converse. Conversation is using language, syntax to create a meaning. The sound should create a meaning. So, Subhasita cha yavacha etan mangalam uttama. That means you use the word in such a way that it brings in calmness and peace in you and creates a peaceful environment outside. Subhasita. Bhasita is speaking. Subhasita is good speech. Which is rid of what? Rid of the Musavada, Pisunavacha, Parusavacha, Sampaphalapa. These four. If you remove those four, my speech would be very peaceful, very good to listen to anyone. That's a test. It's not about pitch. It's not about talking in a very flat tone. You have, but if somebody is listening and he feels, wow, what a voice. It brings in peace when I'm listening to this person. It means he is following Subhasita Chaya Vacha Etan Mangalam Uttamam. Now coming back to your question. I need to use the words. Words should make meaning. So I should use meaningful words. Meaningful in the sense that it should not create vibration in my heart. Of what? Of Kamachanda and Vyapada. Right? Yes.
So I guess without really experiencing it, just like a simple understanding would be that they're still making subtle nimitta in terms of communication, but they're not taken inside.
No, I guess your brain is divided into sub-mind kind of concept. A sub-mind is communicating and you are not even communicating. Something like that. A part of you has been trained to communicate, which is communicating based on metta karuna, and you are staying away. Something like that.
Or maybe like the achatta is not making the science, but the
No, wait. No, it's not like that. So let us take 4 states of mind. Conscious state, subconscious state, unconscious state, supreme conscious state. Right? And we'll leave the supreme conscious state and we'll only take the 3 states. Now, what you and I are speaking can be used by a Puttujana, can be used by a Sakadagami, a Sotapanna, can be used by a Sakadagami, can be used by an Anagami, and can also be used by an Arhat. What? Conscious. Sometimes we are unconscious. Sometimes we are subconscious. Clear? Now, what if this subconscious speech, subconscious bodily action, subconscious mental actions are not there? Clear? Then the unconscious turns itself into conscious, becomes sati. So if the person is in satipatthana with not having kama, chanda and vyapada, then he is an anagami. He can interact with the world, but he doesn't see anything. Like a woman comes in front of me and she's sitting. She's also listening to Dhamma and she has worn a very see-through dress, let's say, and very sensual. And she looks very vulgar also, let's say. And she wants to listen to Dhamma. Now, what happens? When I see her, if I create a nimitta, it's coming from where? Unconscious existence. What nimitta am I making? That she is beautiful. Clear? That is a nimitta. I am not talking nimitta as speech. The nimitta here is the unconsciously I'm enjoying. I started to enjoying that lady who is sitting there. Let's make it true. So let's say she's sitting in the front. Behind the camera, she's sitting. Okay. Now, as I speak to you, if my eye starts wandering and trying to look at each part of her body and I'm still talking Dhamma, it means I'm not an Anagami. Reason being that I started enjoying the body. The nimitta has happened. What nimitta has happened? The body is created in the mind. You might like that woman in one way, but I am enjoying the woman in another way. You got the point? Yes.
Yeah, I guess in that particular case you explained, I can see two reasons an anagami wouldn't interact. One explanation is the asava regarding senses are completely removed
Absolutely.
from anagami.
Yes.
The other explanation is that the senses are perfectly guarded, even though there could be asava. Is there, or is it both?
No, wait. How many types of asavas are there? There are 4 types. What is a kama asava? Is not there. Correct? Bhava asava is there? Yes. Anagami has the bhava asava. Ditti asava has gone when he became a sotapanna. Avidya asava is there? Yes, it is there. Yes.
And for Anagami, even he does not guard the sense door, so to speak, at all, since there's no kama asava.
Exactly.
He's not going to be interested anyways.
He
Doesn't
is,
matter.
yes. So what it means is that when that lady is sitting in front, if he's a Anagami, he will not enjoy her in the mind. Through eyes, right? Now, let's say there was a lady sitting here in front, and through the eyes, I'm watching the camera, but I'm also watching some parts of her, right? And I'm enjoying it. Maybe you guys might not see it, but I'm enjoying it. If I'm enjoying it, it shows I have kama chanda, interest for enjoying the senses. Instead of guarding the senses, eye, sense door, consciousness is going there at that moment. Yes, Ari.
So I guess in this case, it's a girl because their commas isn't there. But previously you mentioned the case, let's say you work for ABB, right? So ABB as a symbol still are taken
Yes.
sometimes. Like when you're taking the plane.
Wait. The symbol, I think you're taking to the literal sense, right? It's not like, so what is symbolization? So let's understand. This body is symbolized as vilas. That is animitta. You got the point. But if somebody calls me vilas and then I will see like a statue, that is not going to happen. I know this is a name given. I am not named. It's a name given. They might give me various designations and various titles. All of that is not me, right? Yes.
Yeah, I think I've understood kind of what you're saying, but my question is, you mentioned that you still would, whenever you see ABB, your eyes will still kind of go there because you're familiar with the symbol.
Then it is not Anagami, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So even ABB should not, even not comma per se, but you still shouldn't.
Now the ABB will come, but the desire to work in ABB shouldn't be there. Got the point? I should get promoted in ABB shouldn't be there. Or even when I quit ABB, when I watch, when I'm flying, when I'm going on the flyover, and then I see there's a building on the right hand side and the left hand side, and it says ABB, then I start remembering my good old days in ABB. Then I've already symbolized. Yes.
Just to
One second, Aryo. Let us give Sachin a chance.
Yeah, so my concept of split personality, which I just now said, split personality, like one is talking to somebody and one is enjoying the blissfulness of jhana. It's not like that. I am totally involved, but not involved. So it is not two.
Exactly.
It's just me who is talking to someone, but or is looking at ABB. But even while looking at ABB, even while taking it, it's my company. I have to work. But still, still there is an understanding that it's I have not to grasp it.
See,
It's very
yes. So in using the words, I can use it in this way: attached to be detached, or detached to be attached. Okay, that's one way of explaining, right?
it has to be detached. It is right word.
Attached to be detached, right? Second way. What's the second way of seeing it? Is that, yeah,
Nothing by mistake.
I am a witness. I'm just witness. See, you can't say, "Hey, Vilas, are you not witnessing this room?" Yes, I'm witnessing. So then, don't you call this as a room? Yes, that's it's anything that is with four walls or three walls and a ceiling is called as a room. I know it is a room. Then you are having a nimitta. No, there's no answer I can give you.
To be and not to be at the same time.
Anagami is a state when you know you are existing, but you also know you don't exist.
Now I was Sanya, not Sanya type of
Exactly. So now, if you ask me, define that and what I can define. See, I'll show you this again. This is what? This is just a statue. To say, it's not Buddha per se. It's just a statue. What it consists of? It consists of just a metal. It's a brass. Brass is what? Brass is a material or a mineral, basically. It's from the mud. But if I were to go like this, that guy is going to go mad. So if somebody were to ask me, "Hey, Vilas, you kept a very nice Buddha statue. What should I do now?" Should I say to him, "Wait, it's made out of Pattavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Akasha, because I'm a Buddhist, so you say, boss, don't tell me that. I don't understand what you're saying. Is this Buddha statue or not?" Now he is ready to hit me, saying that, you see, you symbolized. This is Buddha. Now, what do you want me to do then? Then I will explain to you as a 5 dhatus. Like Matt was asking me after one of that. Maybe when he listens to this, he will be happy. He is following Milinda Panha. He doesn't follow any suttas. He is very happy with the commentary of Milinda Panha. I told him, that is Milinda's questions. I told him, you do that. You don't require any sutta, because everything what you want to know on the sutta is already there. Because all the same questions are asked by Milinda. Aryu, what you just now asked, it is there in that chapter. Exactly the same question. You can go to Milinda Panha and then refer it. Your question will be answered by that bhikkhu who explains a beautiful way to that person. He explains through chariots. He says, Would you not call this as a chariot? If somebody were to ask, are you sitting on the chariot? What do you say? Now I'm sitting on a wheel, I'm sitting on a spoke, I'm sitting on a horse or something like that. No, you'll say, I'm sitting on a chariot. So aren't you symbolizing? Yes, because I need to use a language to say what it is. So to that extent is symbolization. But do you know it's not a chariot? Yes. Do you know it's just an expression? Yes. Yes, Aryu.
Yeah, I think I just misinterpreted. I guess my question is because you said automatically your eye will go to the ABB building when you're taking off. So my understanding now is that as a habit, you may still look at the building, but it doesn't mean the mind has a kamaraga.
Yes, there's no kamaraga. There's no kamaraga. But the problem, why?
Habits.
Yes, the habituated
Yeah.
pattern. That habituated pattern is the avidya. And hence that anagami is still with the lower fetters gone.
Even the arhat can still play with the stones, right? In the sutta, like you said.
Yes, he can play with stone. And that's the reason they go to the Buddha and say that, look, he's playing with the stone. Do you think he's an arhat? He says, yes, the vasana remains in him. Nothing he can do now. But still is an arhat. And they say, I don't know, Buddha says so, it should be. But in our case, there is no Buddha to say whether you are Sotapanna or Sakadagami, Anagami or whatever it is. So now you have to go by the sutta and get that. That's the only difference.
Yeah, in most of the Buddha's talk, there is always yes and no. Something in between he always answers.
Correct.
Neither yes nor no. I have a question.
Yes.
See, now I am understanding Sati Sampajana more better. Like, always in the context of Indriya Samvara, Sati Sampajana is defined. I was always wondering why. Earlier I was thinking I have to develop Sati to meditate when sitting meditation. But here mostly I have observed that Sati Sampajana is in the context of Indriya Samvara.
Indriya, correct. You are very right. Very right.
When you are done with Indriya Samvara, you develop the Sati Sampajana.
Exactly. You will never miss it. With standing, sitting, walking, talking, all that is with Indriyas only, right? So now you have a Indriya.
Yeah, it's not like you develop Sati to do a lot of the things.
No.
It's a result of Indriya.
Exactly. Now the question comes, whether you want to do it through breath method, you want to do the dhatu method, you want to do asubha method, you want to do this method, that method, choice is yours. All will lead to the same outcome. Out of 40 different ways of working, you can take whichever way you want. Yes. Yes, Aryu.
So it's almost like samadhi and sati and indriya samvara are related in that way. If you can maintain your samadhi, then you have kept sati sampajanya, which gives you the indriya samvara also.
Correct. Now let's understand the 5 indriyas in a better way. The 5 indriyas, not these eyes, nose and ears, but it is the 5 indriyas which turns itself into bala, strength. Now the first one, sati, driver. The driver is not distracted in seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling and thinking. Clear? Good. Is driving. Samadhi is established. He's putting energy to cut these senses from going into the sense object. So virya is established. So samadhi and virya are established. Correct? Now, saddha, faith. That is, he is doing it right way. He has a faith. And that means it's working for him. So there's a conviction and hence faith. That will bring him panya, wisdom. Of what? Wisdom of seeing things as they are. Not as he was seeing it all the while. He was seeing this video as Vilas video. So then it comes into raga and dvesha. Oh, the number of subscribers on YouTube are very less, so I need to do this, I need to do that, and so many things. And if it is not working, then I did so many things. I am feeling pinched. I should have done this, I should have done that. That is not there because sati is established. Like what Sachin was saying, the indriya samvara itself is sati. Now, when you have established sati, you are in sampajanya. You become mindful of what is happening and what is not happening. So there is no disturbance. Yes.
Even DN 33, I was specifically asking why is defined together. That
Correct.
four kind of samadhi, the samadhi which leads to sati sampajana, is also defined like this: vidita vedana, vidita vitakka.
Correct.
So it's your cutting papancha. That is samadhi which leads to sati sampajana. It's also
Absolutely.
coming in line with the indriya samadhi.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's the reason DN2 gives you step by step. It says first indriya samvara, then sampajanya, then contentment, then hindrance removal, 5 hindrance. Then you start with jhana. First jhana, second, third, and fourth, and like that. Good then. So let's end for now, and tomorrow we start with Rahulovada Sutta. So this is the preamble of all the three. I can't talk about Arhat because I have not reached. So there's no point in talking about Arhat, but at least to the extent I know on how to do it, I have told you. Yes. Yes, Arif.
Yeah, just to wrap up the question I had at the discussion that we're having, when you're doing indriya samvara perfectly, can you say that it itself is a form of samadhi? It would be.
Indriya Samvara leads you to Samadhi because the Sati is established. When the Sati gets established, the Virya is established. When the Virya is established, the Samadhi is automatically established. When the Samadhi is established, then the Panya automatically comes because you have Saddha. So now let's look at this way. What is Thinamida? Hold on for a second before you ask the next question. I will finish it off. What is Thinamida? Thinamida is sloth and torpor, not able to focus on the things which are coming in the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind, and getting into it is midha. That is body sluggishness because it is going here, there, and then it is getting stuck there. Thina, chitta, also is becoming very sluggish. It doesn't know that it should not go behind it because there is no virya, there is no energy to cut it. Okay. If I put too much of effort, it creates distraction and it creates restlessness. And hence again samadhi can never be achieved. So Thinamida on one side, Udacha Kukkucha on other side will create this not able to establish in samadhi. Okay. Now your question, specific question, is Indriya Samvara equal samadhi? It leads to samadhi. By itself is not a samadhi. Yes, Aryu.
Yes, I understand what you said, but you also said by watching the breath, you develop indriya samvara. So it's almost by maintaining your samadhi, you're developing that. So
Yes.
it kind of goes in circle like that.
Yes, it's one leads to the other. By itself is not a samadhi. Okay. So now when I do the method of what Sachin and Naveen are doing on the Vipassana of Goenka, I can look at the sensation to extent that this body feeling itself is not there. So that removes the aspect of grossness. Then I get into subtleness. So the mind is not occupied with any other thing. So the samvara happens at that moment. So the bliss feeling comes. So that is the part of the sitting meditation, which is perfectly right. But can it help me in all the postures? No, because it's only working in the sitting posture.
Yes.
Now, if I had to practice Indriya Samvara, I should be seeing all the objects and cutting it off, hearing, cutting it off, tasting, cutting it off, and now I can do it in all the postures. So the difference between the Burmese method of Vipassana versus Buddha Dhamma through Sutta is that here you take one and develop it and then transcend it. Now you are ready to transcend.
Nanda Sutta is much better while you are indulging with the people.
Senses, yes, absolutely.
Nanda Sutta says that he sets an intention before even doing the head. He
Exactly.
sets an intention looking the north. He sets an intention when he tries to look south.
Yes.
So whatever mind movement happens, before that he sets intention
Yes.
to not grasp the image.
Absolutely right. That's
Rather
right.
than this Burmese meditation method, which
Correct.
helps when we are doing sitting meditation, we can go subtle and subtle. At that time, when I'm doing sitting meditation, if I'm getting distracted, I can easily do an image of that by
Exactly.
increasing the curiosity in my body sensation.
Exactly.
So I magnify my body sensation, which knocks out the distraction, and then if I come back, that distraction is not there.
Yes. Perfect.
That method will not help me while I'm indulging with the people because I am gross.
Yes. Very correct. So that is what the transcending is. Transcending from the Ubakin method into the Sutta is this. It's not that that's totally wrong. It's not true. It is perfectly right, but it has limitation. The limitation is you can't do it while you are vacant, while you are doing things. So you have to keep on sitting in a formal way for 8 to 10 hours or 12 hours or whatever number of hours, and you have to do the walking meditation within your room or within wherever you are, not indulging with people at all, then this works. But the moment you indulge with people, this shuts down.
Yeah, and Goenka's answer to this, suggestion to this is, you do daily 1 hour sitting, 2 hour sitting meditation. And in the daytime, what you can do is, whenever you recall, whenever it clicks you, you look at the breath and look at the body sensation. Or whenever you feel angry, after getting angry, whenever you realize, you look at the body sensation and like
Correct.
that you increase.
Correct. That is correct. That is also there. Yes, Aryo.
And I guess just a quick comment, by setting intention after intention before doing anything, you're removing the subconscious of
Existence. Yes, absolutely.
and then everything is conscious.
Yes. The layer, the virtual layer is the subconscious. There is only conscious and unconscious. There is nothing called subconscious. It's a virtual layer. You delete it completely. Then what happens? There is only conscious and unconscious becomes conscious. So there's nothing called as unconscious any longer. So when there is nothing called unconscious, you have transcended from a Puttujana to an Anāgami. Because you have conscious of things coming to the eyes, things coming to the ears, things coming into the nose, things coming to the tongue, things coming into the body, things coming in the mind. Yes.
Are you saying subconscious? It's kind of like like an iceberg. Unconscious is below water. But
Yes, that's another good example to take, is that the tip of the iceberg is the conscious, the middle portion is the subconscious, the deeper within the ocean is the unconscious, and hold the water it can hold is supreme conscious.
Yeah, I guess to finish my question, so the subconscious is like, as you get more conscious, you remove some subconscious, then more unconscious come to being.
Exactly. So the iceberg is completely gone. The iceberg is completely removed. There's nothing called as tip of the iceberg. The iceberg itself is not there. Okay, so then we meet tomorrow same time, and we'll start with Rahul Ovada Sutta. Okay, good day to everyone and good night. Enjoy your day.